Hi, my name is Joan Belgrave. We're here at the Cleff Club, and you're going to be watching Chesterview on a salute to Marcus Belgrave.
Hey everybody, we are here at the Cleff Club and I am sitting here with Mr. Hines. Hello, Mr. Hines.
Hello, how are you?
I am great. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Lovett Hines, Artistic Director of the Philadelphia Cleff Club.
Now today we are here for the tribute to Marcus Belgrave. I have experienced a great emotional ride today by music, horns, piano, drums. Talk to us about this tribute today.
Oh, one of the things we're just so happy about what we've been doing at the Cleff Club is that we're trying to really focus on the legacy of great musicians, and mainly great musicians who have come from this area. And everybody know about John Coltrane and Lee Morgan, but there's so many legendary musicians, that came from surrounding areas like Chester, Camden, right? Clifford Brown from Chester, great teachers like Boise. So we have a rich legacy that I think the Cleff Club needs to focus on, and that's what we're trying to do.
The next tune that the band is going to do is by far my favorite song that Marcus wrote. This tune he wrote called All My Love.
Sitting here with the lovely Joan Belgrave. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and really happy to be here.
This experience tonight was awesome. I know that you said you were contacted, but when you were contacted, what was going through your mind about the preparation for tonight?
Well, first of all, I had to find a band in New York that could play Marcus's music. Of course, if I was in Detroit, it would not be a problem because he taught everybody there and they're familiar with him. But trying to find a band in New York that was unfamiliar with his music that could play it well was the first challenge. And, Marcus's hand guides everything. And I was led to these wonderful musicians, so everything works out in divine order.
He would bring all of his students from 13 years old on up and put them in the limelight, and he would stand on the side with that big smile of his and watch them excel and grow. Now that I look back, I see how far I grew being with him. At the time, I didn't know, but he put together a project called he wanted to do a tribute to New Orleans and to Ray Charles because when he was 19, Ray came to Chester, Pennsylvania and waited for him to get out of the army so that he could join his band. So he picked all of the songs on the project. It's called You Don't Know Me, and I was honored that he asked me to sing. This was his favorite Ray Charles song.
Why you walk away?
'cause you don't know me.
So what we are sharing today is that Marcus Belgrave was born in Chester. He toured with Ray Charles, he said, for about 5 years, and that is amazing. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about it. But if you're watching now, you know. What is the importance of teaching our young people today about music?
One of the most important things about teaching young people about music is, first and foremost, it's especially jazz and the popular, we call it American popular music, really stemmed from the legacy of black people, right? From Africa to New Orleans, up to geographically to Washington, Kansas City, Chicago, I started to say Washington, Kansas City, of course, Philadelphia and New York. And then the other part of it is when I call it jazz, I also mention in the same sentence American popular music. And we think about American popular music, we think about the blues, we think about gospel. And then if you think geographically of different places that produce certain kinds of music and certain styles of music, we talk about Motown. And all of that music that happened during the 60s and 70s, and you talk to young people, you'll say, do you remember Diana Ross? You remember The Temptation? They say, oh, yeah, I remember that. Now, here's the catch-22.
Talk to us, make it plain.
Here's the catch-22. Those musicians that made that music happen was jazz musicians. And to bring it closer to home, Marcus Belgrave was one of those chief musicians that played on all of those records that our young people, that we danced to, our parents danced to. And I know when I go out and do workshops with young people, I'll talk about jazz, but soon I play something like My Girl. Boom, boo, doo, doo, da, da. And the kids, oh, I recognize that. I got sunshine. And then you tell them, jazz musicians were responsible for that. And then, like I said, it brings it closer to home when you bring it to young people from this area and tell them, right, musicians who actually came from this area was a major part of that, and Marcus Belgrave was a part of that. So it's such a strong engulfing legacy.
And so Marcus always included this tune in his set because it was bebop. Marcus could do bebop, Marcus could do whatever he wanted to do. This tune, written by Hank Crawford, is called A Bill for Benny.
So talk to us about Marcus. I know he was born in Chester, PA. We can encourage the kids in Chester that he got on that path that led to Motown. Is there anything that you can remember that you can share with us that caused him to transition into that direction? What kept him on that path to Motown?
When Marcus was a young boy, his father, Darnley Belgrave, he was a bugle player, but he was a steel worker in Chester. He worked in the steel mill in Chester. And he told Marcus that he did not want him to follow in his footsteps there. One summer, he took Marcus to the mill so that he could work there and see how hard it was. And Marcus didn't like that because it was hard work, you know. But his father would, he would do that because he had to support his family. His father told him, Mr. Belgrave told him that if you don't want to have to do what I do, then you need to play that horn and put that horn in your mouth. And so that is what he did. And from the time he was, let's see, he started playing when he was 4 years old. Yeah. He might have been a little bit young. He might have been 3. But he said his father was having a rehearsal because he had a family band. Everybody in his family, he taught everybody in his family. He also taught the children in the neighborhood in Chester, Mr. Belgrave. And he said that Marcus was laying down and he was trying to get the bugle, you know, as a baby. And he said, you want to play? And so then he put that horn in his hand. And he practiced from probably the time he was 5 or 6 years old until the day he died, for 2 hours every day. And I think that you know, that form of preparation, the fact that he never wanted to do anything else. He used to always say, I've never done anything else but music in my life. He never had a job doing anything else because that's what he wanted to do. And he knew that if that's what he wanted to do, he had to be good. And he had to put the time in to do it. 2 hours every day, you know, at the same time, every day, every morning, he would get up and do his long tones and practice his horn.
Anybody who knew Marcus knows that not only was he a bebopper and he was one of the Motown Funk brothers. He played on Dancing in the Streets, My Girl, all of that. All of the only ones that he did not play on was the Supremes. One thing that Marcus did was he had a new Louis Armstrong show that we did together. Well, he was doing it before he met me, but we did it together for 11 years, and I think he was doing it about 7 years before he and I met. And the one thing that I loved about Marcus is that when he sang, he had a naturally gravelly voice. He was not one of these people who tried to sound like Satchmo. You hear these people who try to sound like Louis Armstrong. Marcus never tried to sound like Louis Armstrong. That's just how he sounded. Could not have a complete picture of Marcus without some Louis Armstrong in the show. And we let Dwayne Eubanks pick whichever Louis Armstrong song that he would like to do. This is one that Marcus used to do, and Marcus used to play it and sing it. I'm not making Dwayne sing, but he does a wonderful job on this song called Sleepy Time Down South.
And the music goes on. The music the hip hop that the kids are listening to, they're sampling, you know,
A lot of music.
jazz musicians and those musicians that created music during those periods, the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. So what we are doing today is like coming full circle, and we want to see the next Marcus Belgrave because they're there.
They are there.
But what they need a foundation, a historical foundation. So that's why what we did today was so important.
And it was great. And I know that you are doing a lot of different things here at the Cleff Club. Talk to us about if someone wanted to become a member or get more information, how could they do that?
Well, one of the things that we do have at the Cleff Club is membership. And membership starts at $35.
So if somebody wanted to contact the Cleff Club, how could they do that?
You can call us 215-893-9912. They can ask for me. They can ask for Mr. Don Gardner, who is our executive director, which is a great artist in his own right. And it's one of the things that I think is so important about the Cleff Club. The Cleff Club was created, right, from the Black Musician Union. And when that was dissolved, the Cleff Club was the only thing that's left. It's only three Black musician unions that kept their legacy and kept their assets around the country. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Philadelphia. And the Cleff Club is a derivative of those Black musician unions. And so education is so important because we want that legacy to continue. So we found a way that we can offer lessons to young people. It's free. It focuses on young people from the 6th grade to the 12th grade. Now we are looking at young people who's younger. And someone asked me, said, well, Miss Irons, when did you start teaching young people? So I said, well, 6 years old, 5th grade. But then we started getting these young people to come in 7 years old playing guitar and bass. So what I usually say, all right, is no age limit. If you got a young person and then the parents say, well, my little baby is going playing on drums and he's beating every place. If a young person can come to the Cleff Club and has attention span in music for 15 to 20 minutes, he's in.
All right.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it. Let's get back to the tribute for Marcus Belgrave.
And I'm going to tell a story. We were having coffee in Detroit on the waterfront. Some of you may have heard the story. And we were at Panera Bread. And I was having my coffee and Marcus was having his sweets. And he started throwing some of his bread to the birds. And of course, we're outside, the birds start flocking, right? They're coming to eat all the birds. And so I looked over at him, I said, babe, maybe you really shouldn't do that, because they're gonna kick us out of here. Well, anybody who knows Marcus knows that he always did exactly what he wanted to do. So he looks over at me, he says, babe, you just so excitable. It's all right, don't worry about it. He went in the bathroom to wash his hands. While he was there, I keep these little yellow Post-its in my purse, and I started writing out this song. And at the time, I didn't have an iPhone, so I couldn't sing it. And I said, we need to go home so that I can get on the piano and get this down before it leaves my little brain. And he wanted to drive up Jefferson Boulevard. I don't know if any of you know much about Detroit, but it has a beautiful waterfront. And I'm like, nah, baby, we need to get home. So we got home, I wrote the tune down, and then that night he added some chords. And so this was what we called our first child, because my baby was grown, I wouldn't have it no more. It ended up being the only song that we wrote together. This is Excitable, and I hope you like it.
heard you say that Ray Charles came to get him. What was he doing, or was he seen to have Ray Charles come to Chester, PA to get him?
Marcus was, he left Chester, he joined the Army, and he joined the military band. He was in the military band. Well, Ray Charles's band came through Texas, which was where he was playing. He was stationed. And he went down to hear the band. The trumpet player at the time, I forget who it was, told Marcus that he was going to be leaving the band. Marcus asked him, could he sit in? And he did sit in. He let him sit in. Of course, Ray loved him. And so he told him, he says, well, you know, he was about to be discharged. And he told him when he was going to be discharged. So when Marcus came home, Ray would come through Chester regularly. I mean, according to Marcus, all of the big cats would come through Chester. Chester was I think on 2nd Street was a very vibrant musical area. And all of the big acts, the big African-American acts would come through and play in Chester. And he said that Ray loved Chester because the women here would feed him very well. And that they would cook, I'm trying to remember the lady's name. I have it written down. I had a lot of interviews that I did with Marcus that I at some point need to go back and listen and take notes of what he said, because he named names of all of the people that were in Chester. But so Marcus, the day that Ray came looking for Marcus was in Philadelphia. He had come in, I think it was to listen to Coltrane, I think. He had come in to listen to someone, and Ray came looking for Marcus. Him and the band came looking for Marcus, and Marcus wasn't there. And so when Marcus left Philadelphia and came back to Chester to come home, he went to the club, and they said, man, Ray was here looking for you. And he was waiting he said, meet him at this restaurant. There was a restaurant, and I don't know the name of it right now. And so Marcus said, okay, well, I'll go to the restaurant. He sat down, and Ray said, man, well, you know, I want you to join my band, and you need to be ready to go in an hour. Marcus was 19 at the time. And he said, he went home, and he told his parents, and his mother didn't want him to go. And his father said, let him go. Let the boy go. Let the boy go. So he packed his clothes up, and he went on the road with Ray, and the rest is history.
Now I have to go back and watch the movie to see which person represented somebody from Chester.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, Marcus played on all of those songs that are in that movie, and because of that, he gets royalties from them.
Now, she sang tonight. She sang tonight. So you have some up and coming events here in Philadelphia area, but I know once some of the people in our area hear your beautiful voice, they're going to say, okay, how can we get in contact? How can we follow her? How can we keep tabs on where she's going to be, what she's going to be doing? Give them some information to keep in touch.
You can go to my website, joanbelgrave.com. Also, you can get me through marcusbelgrave.com. I will be performing in New York at 60th and Broadway at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola Jazz at Lincoln Center on July 17th.
All right. Beautiful spirit, beautiful heart. Let's look at some footage from tonight's tribute for Marcus Belgrave.